issues. Hi, everybody. Welcome,
Okay.
welcome. Trying to push the button. Welcome to Sorting Soup. I'm glad that you have made your way here. We are live streaming right now, so if you do not want your face on the video it is now the time to turn your video off. But otherwise, we would love to see you. We'd love to say hi. And in the spirit of saying hi, hello, Beth. Hello, Laura. Hello, Melissa. Hello, Bonnie. Hello, Ori. Hello, Ellen. Hello,
Hey, how
Mira.
about Ori?
Hello. Hello,
It's
Bruce. Hello.
Aurie.
Yes, my mother's name, Ori.
It,
It's her mother's name.
Oh,
it is beautiful. Hello, Merritt. Hello, Miss Deanna and
Why would you
Trisha
name
and
your kid your name?
oh,
You'd have to ask her. I didn't name my daughters after me. So
Shoot, I thought I was muted.
I know a few people who did that, though. I have a
Really?
Shirley Jr. who is a friend, and my great grandmother named her daughter after her. So my great aunt Marion
Yeah.
was
Oh, I guess because men do it all the time, so I guess I was being sexist.
sexist. Jeez,
Yeah.
really?
yeah, really. Yeah.
What
'cause
did
But
I
you know what?
miss?
all the
And
juniors,
that's
I'm
called a
married to
female
juniors.
junior. That does exist.
My,
Named after their mothers.
we
Well,
have
that's what I said. That was me. And I
yeah.
married two men. My two ex-husbands were named after their fathers. So we had the tradition of, although I named my first daughter Faith. And primarily because my mother, yeah, long story, my husband was in Vietnam and came back with post-traumatic stress disorder and all. And I was on my way to the hospital, and my mother said, "Don't worry, have faith." So,
Faith.
doing what my mother said,
You did
I,
have faith.
You were
That's
just
it.
following orders.
following orders.
Oh, that's
That's
great.
Right.
nice.
Well, everybody, I need to share my screen. Got to get this party started. All right. So glad that you've made it here. That you've made it here to Sorting Soup. And you are hosts today. I'm Cecilia, co-facilitator. I'm from Eastern Illinois Indivisible, also from NWSOFA. We have Beth M., a co-facilitator from Southeast Michigan. We also have Melissa from Boston and our Canada. I believe we have Dr. Chris today, and I think we have Boot Money lying around somewhere. I know we have Laura G. as our timekeeper and tech support, and I know I don't think we have Adrian today, but that's okay. The point is that we have an excellent team here today to help us work through the soup that has become our news cycle. And that is where the name Sorting Soup came from, is sorting through the soup that is our news cycle. So what we have next, let's see if I can, there we go. Beth, can you take us through our logistics?
Yes, ma'am. Can you change the slide?
Oh, I did.
I don't see it.
The green one?
Mm-mm.
You know, oh, hold on.
It's
Uh-oh.
still the first one.
Uh-oh, my bad. I'm still, oh my gosh, guys.
So I'll just wing it. Don't be sassy. Don't be mean. Put your questions in the chat. And that wraps it up. And if you have any questions, raise your hand.
Okay.
Back to Cecilia.
Thank you so much. Hold on, guys. I think it's because I put it into presentation mode. Let me get it out of presentation mode.
I'll read it when you bring it up.
Thank you. So sorry, guys. Why? Why can't we just have a day where it just does what I ask it to do? Can you see?
Yes, group space for collective processing and analysis of recent events, emotional and analytical processing of difficult material, turning awareness into ethical, lawful action, harm mitigation plans, support for affected groups, respond with clarity instead of panic. Our norms are raise your digital hand to contribute to discussion, keep it civil and constructive. And if you perceive a problem, propose a solution. No spamming in the chat. And take breaks or step away if you need to. Sometimes it gets a little saucy in the soup.
That is the truth. All right. So moving on. Today, we'll have about 25 to 30 minutes of just how we're arriving, what's going on in the news. And if we'd like to talk about No Kings 3, that is always available. Then we'll have a breaking it down portion, really getting into the nitty gritty of what is going on and what we need to like just getting into the digs. And then we have some brainstorming time, questions of what we can really do, what we can do about the news and how we can bring it home to our communities, and some calls to action at the end. But first, Melissa, can you please take us to the Bardo?
Yes, so I'm going to do something different today, a brief clearing of space. And that since the Bardo is kind of an abstract concept, but also a very body concept, Bardo is the space between what has been and what we are trying to create to give into our future of our country and for ourselves. So for the moment, what we can do is to clear a space by temporarily putting aside the things that are within us right now, just to create kind of an empty space that we can bring things back into, reflect, and go forward with. So right now, let's take a couple breaths, cleansing breaths, breathing in through your nose and out through your mouth, allowing the breath to go wherever you need it to go. If you have any tension in your neck, you just move your neck a little bit, or anywhere in your body or your back. If you want to shrug your shoulders, roll your shoulders, move your chin towards your neck, and just then look inside the space between your neck and right above your navel and notice what's there. And acknowledge it, appreciate it, and ask any concerns just to step aside to your right or left and let them just sit there, promising you'll come back to them when you're ready. So check to see what's there within and say thank you for being there. And please just sit aside for now while we create a space for the Bardo. And you can check as many times as you want, whether there's things of the day today, concerns for the future, everything that could be there. Just move it aside for now, knowing you can come back to it and promising you can come back. And then let's take a moment just to reflect on having a space inside where we can create and use our empowerment and our strength to go forward, breathing into our bellies, into our chest. A good breath, breathing out, creating energy within to replenish us. And then if anything is calling out to us, we can bring it back in. And we can also just make the space for today for the soup and see what comes up and how we want to apply our empowerment that we are gathering during the Bardo to move forward into the next space to influence and take charge of our world and empower ourselves and other people. And so on that note, let's just take another breath, cleansing breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. You can feel the energy going through your fingertips and out through your toes. And when you're ready, you can blink your eyes and wiggle your fingers and your toes and come back in and make space for today. Thank you.
Okay. So, the top stories today, and once again, these don't have to be what we talk about, but the U.S. war with Israel and Iran escalates. Iran closes the Strait of Hormuz. The U.S. strikes intensify. 168 killed in a girls' school bombing. Oil prices surge. Gas up 19% to $3.45 a gallon. Goldman warns inflation could hit 3% by year end. Remember what 47 promised those oil barons? Homeland Security shut down. TA, Coast Guard affected during spring break. Standoff over the Save America Act funding. And the New Hampshire special election flip. Sign of midterm headwinds for GOP. Democrat Bobby Bowman flipped a 47 carried New Hampshire State House district by 16 points. Dems have now flipped 28 state legislative seats since 47's return to office. The GOP, they have flipped none. So, where would we like to go with this conversation? Anyone? Bruce.
Bruce, you're muted. You want to, there we go.
I unmuted. Okay. Yeah. I'm in Palm Beach County and I put my hand up first. No, nobody else did. I was waiting. The war, of course, is the most dominating thing in the news these days. The illegal war, and it is a war. It's not an excursion or even an incursion. It's a war. And oil prices have gone up as a result. But I want to talk about, and we have what, 2 minutes?
Go ahead.
The shutdown. There's an alternative. You know, they voted again today, and it's the same old thing. Other than Fetterman, all the Democrats voted against the budget, and the Republicans voted for. I'm not sure if there were any Republicans voting with the Dems. But this is significant because I think they've got to get the point across. And I heard this on MS Now as well. And I've said it also before. The Dems are willing to fund TSA, Coast Guard, and others. They need to try to get a discharge petition or something on the floor so that the Republicans are on record opposed to that, because they have opposed it. They want to do them all. And the Dems are agreeable to funding everything but ICE and the Border Patrol. So they need to get that out there so they can say that the reason TSA and so forth are not getting funded is because of the Republicans, not because of them, which is what the Republicans have been saying. But the other thing I want to talk about that's not on here that's really important is the SAVE Act. And you know, that's not something that's on the mind of a lot of people because they're looking at affordability and the war and Epstein and other things. But the SAVE Act is something Trump is so concerned about. He's put a lot of pressure on the Republicans. And Cornyn yesterday flipped and said he would go to eliminate the filibuster, which means if other Republicans flip, they only need 51 votes to pass it as opposed to 60. And I don't know what the count is now because another Republican from Nebraska also flipped and is willing to do away with the filibuster. So this is very concerning because Trump has even said that if they get this, new act, they'll control the House for 50 years. It's voter suppression. And what the Republicans aren't talking about is the executive branch through Department of Homeland Security would be taking over, getting the data from all the states relating to elections. It's not just voter ID. There's a lot more to it than that. And Trump even wants to add in provisions about no mail-in ballots for, unless it's military or something like that. But you automatically couldn't get mail-in ballots, and also to take rights away from trans people. So
Yeah.
this is a very bad bill that needs to be defeated, and yet we need to call our Congress people, especially Republicans, to hold on to the filibuster and remind them that if they're in the minority, they're going to want it. That's it.
I agree. And the Save America Act funding is on the list. It's just not it's not in bold. It's underneath the Homeland Security shutdown. I apologize.
I didn't see it. I'm sorry.
That's okay. I just want to let you know it's on there. It just wasn't highlighted. But I agree. It's very important and something that we cannot forget about. As a person who is affected by it right now, specifically, I agree. Amy, you're up next.
Okay, one thing that this is still a developing story. So, but I'm not sure if you all heard about this, but and I can't remember where in Michigan, but around Detroit, Michigan, a person in a vehicle with tons of explosive in the back of the truck and a rifle too, rammed into a door of a Jewish synagogue. Again, very still developing story. Thankfully, it's the synagogue, a school, and daycare, but thankfully nobody was killed. The
So that was in
security
Detroit?
guard, huh?
Did you say that was in Detroit?
Around
Yes.
Detroit.
Beth.
Bloomfield.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Just north of Detroit.
Keep talking. Continue.
And basically the security guard, I guess, again, developing story.
Right.
But the guy, I guess, rammed in through the door. Supposedly the back of the truck was filled with explosives. And he had a rifle. Security guard stopped him and killed him. I guess there is like maybe a security guard in the hospital, but not life-threatening injuries. Nobody else was hurt. But part of my reason in burning this up, and again, it's a developing story, so they don't know if the person was acting alone or with a group of others. But again, I could be wrong, but my thinking is, since we have the war in Iran right now, Israel and America attacked Iran, and Iran had talked about sleeper cells. That unfortunately is not a surprise.
Right.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, Amy. And I know we need to continue to look out for things like this and protect ourselves and our communities and help our communities when things like this happen. Kara, you are up next. Where'd you go, my sister? Where'd you go?
Oh, there we go. Now I'm unmuted. I really wish I had gone before the last person because that was very depressing.
Yeah.
I can't even remember what I was going to say. Well, first of all, I don't know why Bruce put in the chat there who he's named after, but King Robert the Bruce of Scotland. That's very interesting. So I put in my family things is I'm a descendant of Grace O'Malley, the Pirate Queen of Ireland. And my first name, Kara, came from my mom reading about Ted Kennedy's daughter's name, which I just found out recently that they called her Cara, not Kara. But anyways, so I don't know. The other thing I was going to mention was all the stuff that Bruce covered, because calling. This is one of those times. It seems like there's always something to call about, but I think part of the message is that Save America Act. We can call multiple times, maybe not every day, but every time something happens that changes the political saliency of it, call again. We need
Right.
to call on that to beat this Save America act. And
Every time they have to vote on it. Like
right, every time they have to vote on it. When Trump says get rid of the filibuster, we can call again and say don't get
yeah.
keep doing it. And by the way, I think there's a lot of Republican females that are not going to like the results of this, and this is a conversation we can have to help get them on our side, and maybe even they would call too. I don't know, but
And bridge that gap. Yeah.
bridge it. It's a bridging thing. Yep.
I agree. And just to let you, nice segue here to answer some questions. The House approved the SAVE Act in February, mostly along party lines. Reporting indicates that only one Democrat, Henry Cuellar of Texas, voted with Republicans. All other Dems opposed it. Now, Republicans hold a 53-47 majority in the Senate, but the bill is all but certain to fail because Dems are unified against it and can filibuster. That's if we keep the filibuster, right? So we have to call on that. Majority Leader John Thune has promised to bring it to the floor next week, quote unquote, for a vote to get everyone on the record, but he has explicitly signaled that it lacks the 60 votes needed to advance. Trump is pressuring Republicans to pass an even harsher version and threatening to block other bills until the Save America Act reaches his desk, which is intensifying the standoff around the DHS funding and everything else. He's literally saying he's not going to sign anything else until this gets to his desk. He's such a toddler piece of... Hi, Angela. How are you?
Hello, I'm great. Besides all the political stuff, I'm great. I am super encouraged about all the seats that Democrats have flipped. That's very, very encouraging. I used to, unfortunately, believe that vote blue no matter who, and I've learned a lot more since then. And there's, Fetterman and others like him, and a lot of Democrats take corporate money, and there's, we need to be careful on who the Democrats are too, is my point. So, but I'm still super encouraged, and yeah, thank you. That was all.
I completely agree. And I read today that not Cornyn, is it the South Carolina gentleman who's running for an 18th term? He's 85 years old. Right. And I'm like, my guy, I appreciate you. Thank you so much for your service. It's time to retire now. I mean, like, I don't know. Again, I don't know what's happening in South Carolina, so maybe he is the best that we have, but I don't know, 85. Anyway, Amy, thank you. Hi, you're back.
No problem. Two little kind of on the lighter side, one kind of funny. Actually figured just get a little funny in there, but when we were talking about like what we were named after, I don't have that, but in our family, my claim to history is the Civil War ended and started on my great whoever's farm. So
cool.
That's our claim to fame and history.
Well, I was named after Saint Cecilia.
I like that.
So, and the nun, basically, it's a family name. There's been a Cecilia in my family going all the way back across the ocean to Poland and beyond. So
awesome. But okay, but the funny thing that my husband said that if there was a way to work this out, I'm sorry, this would be a brilliant plan. This really would be, y'all. My husband said, like how Trump like signs like all the legislation and stuff and probably doesn't look at it. Well, somebody slip into the legislature book to have him sign somewhere in there would be that me being President Donald Trump, I resign immediately, and have him sign.
That would
have
be
that
nice.
in-
He is in a kind of an auto pen phase, isn't he?
Yeah, so just just sneak that in there, and then I said, well, what about Biden and Castell and all the other people? And he's like, well, we could have that in there too. And then I could tell him, well, somebody needs to grab that right away, and then show on TV that, okay, President Trump signed that he's resigning right now, and all these other people are fired.
Ah, well, not a terrible idea. That's for
Yeah,
sure.
I'm like, honey, how can we do this? Yeah.
Over the past 2 weeks.
Well, oh, finally. There we go. I'm going to mute you. There we go. All right, Bruce, you're up next. I'm going to switch the slide to brainstorming behind you. And so everybody can just kind of think on these topics as we go through. If anyone thinks of an answer, I would definitely think I would appreciate it. But Bruce, you're up next.
I was going to talk about the previous slide.
Oh, okay. I'll go back to the previous slide.
No, you can keep that one on for people to watch. I know what I wanted to say. Whoever mentioned Fetterman, good news about him today. He changed his mind on the SAVE Act. He said he read it and he doesn't like certain parts, so he's going to vote against. Join all the other Democrats.
To think all he had to do was read the bill.
But I wanted to talk about New Hampshire, because that's significant. The reason being, the current Democratic senator is not going for re-election. So it's an open seat. And from what I've heard, the polls are pretty much even. And New Hampshire is a state that could flip the other way, as are a couple of others. I heard Michigan, and who knows about Georgia. So that's significant that it flipped to the Democrat for that particular seat, and hopefully that's a sign of the times.
That answers that question down there at the bottom. What does that New Hampshire flip tell you about voter mood right now? I think it tells us quite a bit. Although I will continue to say it tells us more about the reaction to the current administration and less about how they feel about the Democrats. Because I think that there is a possibility for like a +40 for Democrats if we were really digging in and doing our job. But that's just me. Hi, Ms. Ori. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. I just wanted to not respond, but give some insights on your and it's a proper concern about 86-year-old person running for office. That is a legitimate concern. But I also think we have to be careful that we don't follow the path that they and the ultra conservatives, because right now we have some of the youngest diverse Supreme Court justices in the history of this country, yet they are also the most ultra conservative. So with youth, and I can't remember the young person in Illinois, Chris, what was the one that just got assassinated? That started that. Oh God,
Charlie Kirk.
Thank you, thank you, Bruce. Charlie Kirk. Again, youth and young in and of itself should not be. It should be a factor. It should be a consideration. But at the end of the day, and I learned this when I was at the law department of the Chicago Transit Authority, and our first Black woman and first Black person and first woman general counsel for the CTA, and they were afraid, quote, that she would, be following the affirmative action. What she told us to do, me to do, because I was the head of the administration department, was put the resumes on the wall, cross out the names, and in our case, addresses, because of some of the, and go with the qualifications. In doing so, we had more women, we had more people of color than the history of CTA had ever had. And when the board of the CTA said, well, you're just doing the ATA, Affirmative Action Act and blah, 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 blah. And Joyce so calmly said, Counselor, can you explain to them how we proceed with the hiring of attorneys? And they were floored that resume on the wall and picked the most qualified. we have to do that because when I was journeying with some of my Black friends about Kamala versus, Cornel West, for me, it wasn't a question of a Black man or a Black or racially diverse woman. It was a question of qualifications.
Right.
And if we don't do that, then we're following the path that the alt-right has established. Look at the qualifications. Age is a consideration, but it's also a consideration when too young, too old, too young. And by too young, I don't mean, I mean experience-wise. There are some young people that have had daunting experience that would lift the bar, then that would be fine. But we have to be careful that we don't follow a path of of disqualifying people based upon factors that are not necessarily worthy. Now, again, they should be considered, absolutely. Because at 86, I don't even know if I would know my name. So if the person even know their name, they're better than I am. That's why I have to wear a sign. My name is Ori, so I can remember what it is. So, but I'm just saying, I think that's what we have to consider and keep in mind that, this is a daunting time where we want the most experienced, the most committed, and quite frankly, the most progressive that's going to stand and stand tall on this. And
I agree. And like I said, I think that if he is the best that we have there, that's fine. That's like what I want. Agree. 100. And I haven't done my like that's on my number one to do tonight is to look into that. I just
but also, but part of that, if he is the best, that's a question. If
that
an
is a
86-year
question.
old person is the best, see, that's what I'm saying. We have to go beyond that into what that no, please don't get me started. We've got to look at how can that be the best?
What's happening in South Carolina that makes, I mean,
Exactly.
not that he's not amazing and hasn't had an amazing career, not that he's not but I mean, come on, like, I don't know. I think he should be able to, I think y'all should be able to retire. I just,
and have not just putting it on his shoulders, but what is wrong with the Democratic Party in New Hampshire,
South Carolina.
South Carolina, South Carolina, that he is the best.
Right.
Structurally, we need to look at, is there an indivisible there? That's what I'm saying. We've got to go past the framework of, and again, I was born and raised in Chicago. I grew up under Master Daley. So don't start talking to me about Democrats versus Republicans because Dr. King came here for a reason and it clearly wasn't to enjoy the weather. So
Yeah.
I'm saying we have to find a way to examine what is wrong there. If he is the best, there's something wrong there. And not that he's not good. But there
Right.
should be some other, as my grandmother, some other goodness there too that should be
That's
able
right.
to run. So I'm done. Thank you.
That's right. Thank you. All right, Dr. Melissa, you are up.
I'm just going to follow up on this because I think we're in extraordinary times and we need all of our resources, younger, older, in the middle. And so Clyburn, he's a powerhouse, and I hope he is still the best and the brightest at his age.
I can't hear you.
Oh, shoot, really?
You're a little slower. I can hear you. You're just
Oh,
a
maybe
little
it's can you
soft.
hear me now? Okay.
Good
I can
news.
hear you.
Is
I
it
can hear
You
better?
you.
picked Natalie up at 9:30 in the morning.
Oh, I
I
don't
think
think
we
she,
She's not
never
talking.
mind.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. It's not me. It's okay. So, somebody best and the brightest. He might be. And I don't know who else is there. I think that it's maybe not like the Supreme Court where someone dies, the wrong person's appointing someone. I hope that if Clyburn could no longer do his job, there would be someone else to step in who is allied with his values. And I have to say, we have to look at our own group, and our group is varied in age and maybe tending towards the older side. And I used to always wonder what will happen to the baby boomers, of which I am a part, when we get older. And now I see. So
Yeah.
I think we're still a powerhouse, we're still a force. And I thought that would happen. So, and we should just keep that going, and but not to the exclusion of people who are younger or in their in their 40s or 30s, or 50s or 60s. So we need everybody, all hands on deck.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Thank you. Bruce.
Yeah. age is not going to be my primary consideration. I agree with what Ori was saying. But I want to talk about the first item here. What's the biggest risks of this war for ordinary people here at home? Well, the first thing is casualties. Because yes, it happens in the field, but you got family at home who lose husbands, who lose wives, who lose children, whatever. That's certainly a bad risk. We also have what you've seen with the groceries. Well, not the groceries, but the oil prices. And, the fertilizer, which will affect the groceries, the vegetables and so forth, because a lot of that goes through the Straits of Hormuz.
Mm-hmm.
And and Iran has said they're going to keep blocking it. So that the prices are just going to go way up. So that's another casualty of the war. But also there could be sleeper cells. And we don't know if any of these attacks from ISIS people have anything to do with Iran yet, but there could be sleeper cells here. And as I mentioned this morning, there was even an article, there's concern of whether or not Iran could fire missiles into California by putting them on a boat that's closer to the shore and setting them off. Just because we're not there doesn't mean we can't get hit as well as the countries that are in the area. So since you've asked for what are the risks for ordinary people here at home, by the way, for people in the area, some people here, for instance, in Iran, they have relatives. We heard one on a person speak on Ezra and Leia this afternoon. She has family in Iran. People have family in Israel. People have family in other countries in the area. They're getting affected. So that affects people here as well. And I'll leave it at that for now. I'm sure there are other things that I just haven't thought of now.
All right. Thank you, Bruce. Julie, how are you today?
I forget. I was looking for the unmute. Oh, here from St. Paul and on the war. I was just listening. I was out doing errands and trying to grab some groceries, gas, all of that. I don't know. I feel like kind of in emergency mode here. Plus there's a storm coming here. But anyway, I heard something about Witkoff and Kirshner. They've got a lot on their plates, these two. They, I mean, they're still dealing with Gaza. They're dealing with Ukraine. And now they're dealing with negotiations or would-be negotiations with Iran. Neither one of them are experienced at all. And they don't know the culture. They don't know the language. They don't know what they're doing. And this is way too much. It's just all about, the real estate stuff. I don't know what they're doing, but that to me is scary. That is very scary because we have totally inexperienced people in the middle of this mess. And I too am concerned about the cells and cyber. I think they have the capability, and I think who knows? We've lost a lot of good people. I think wasn't it Kash Patel that he fired a bunch of people that were experts in the Middle East cyber. Tell me if I have that wrong.
You don't. He did right before this whole thing started, which is hinky timing.
And then on the age thing, I just listened to Velshi and Rule. They have a new podcast. I can't remember the title, but they had Adam Mockler on there. Have you seen Adam Mockler? Yeah, he's good. I like him. At first, he kind of had to grow on me, but him, and then we can't forget about David Hogue, and he has the organization Leaders We Deserve, and it's an organization that you can donate to for youth campaigns.
Right.
And I'll be quiet now. Okay.
That's all right.
I'll come back. Thank you.
If you have David Hogg's information for Leaders We Deserve,
yeah, I'll put that in the chat. I definitely will. I did look it up. Okay.
Thanks, Julie.
Sure.
All right. Dr. Melissa.
Hi, I wanted to respond about war. As far as where Congress should draw the line on mission creep and boots, definitely not boots on the ground. I think we've seen even if we send advisors in person, which we shouldn't have to do anymore because we can do everything on Zoom. Um, that would be too much. I think we want to not send any advisors in person. Definitely not special forces, which is what they're threatening, because that then it just leads into other troops. And that is our armed forces already. And I think if we draw the line on money, and this is very hard to get a government to do when there is even an undeclared war or a fake war of choice like this one, because we're already way over the line in terms of money. I think if we could get Congress to draw the line on the funding and to no boots on the ground, zero advisors, nothing, that would be ideal. And how we do that, I would love to hear how people think we might be able to convince Congress to do that without, because people tend to feel that they're unpatriotic if they don't fund a war. And this is true. That was true of the Iraq War. So see what people think. What do you
I
think?
Cecilia,
think
can I make a comment?
yes. Go ahead, Bruce.
Melissa, remember Vietnam War? Didn't it start with advisors on the ground? I think it
That's
did.
exactly right. I said that this morning in CNC. Yeah, it totally started with advisors. And what happened is, Kennedy was shot. I think he had advisors there, and it
He
was supposed to
did.
stop
Yeah.
at that. And then he was assassinated. And then McNamara deceived Johnson into thinking that Kennedy meant to put more people in. And they had just a few people, and then it kept expanding and expanding and went on and on. I think we lost like 48,000 people, and that was just us. It's much more if you count, and you should count the Vietnamese people who perished as well, the North and the South, and then all the Agent Orange damage to our people, and also especially in Vietnam. So there's a
And what
lot of
about the
cost to war.
PTSD as well?
Oh yeah, that's yeah, we're still dealing with that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It uh, it's a thing. So it's very hard on the whole, and it's hard on the families. I think you pointed that out, Bruce. Families lose out, and children, and then businesses and livelihoods are lost. So that's the
Yeah.
cost.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So when we think about that, now we need to think about how we can start to mitigate that preemptively, guys, because that's going to be our job. Our job is to mitigate all of what we just talked about. Ellen, you're up next.
Okay, thank you. Right. Well, good ideas. I'm running for Congress here in Chicago myself, and it's it focuses me, but kind of depressing, because I'm trying to kind of mitigate while running, which part of it is don't ask for money, and because I think the campaign finance, Citizens United is driving everything, and but I think the other problem that I'm glad I'm experiencing it is that, Quigley, who I'm running against, he's a Democratic Party candidate. And I know I learned with Northwest Suburbs Organizing for Action 10 years ago that they told me they won't help you if the candidate's already a Democrat. And so my one observation is the way the parties only put their own in there, as we look for governor and senator, and it's just like the only experience is valuable is being the lieutenant governor or something. And the challenge of getting any coverage in the media, is based on real issues is crazy. But my speaking about the war, I'm primarily been focused on peace and why are we in this war state, this deep state, and it is the financing. The APAC is huge, and but this there's so much evidence in what I've studied is that the that Israel, its roots are in the Nazis and Netanyahu, but that they killed Kennedy to stop his strategy of peace. And so I'll stop there.
Okay. Yeah, I know that the the history of all of this is dark, and it goes down some rabbit holes that we could talk about and talk about and talk about. What we need to continue to do is really try to figure out how, again, we can brainstorm ideas. What can we do to, I don't want to continue to use mitigate, but to help our local communities, even like at the very bottom, where in your own community could a small organizing push make a big election difference? Because we do the big electioneering, but where could a small one, just a pop-up, make a difference? We need to start thinking about just like even the little incremental things can make a difference, and maybe we need to start adding those as well to help in each and everything. But also things like, what's one way we can show solidarity with affected workers? There are going to be a lot of affected workers from what's happening overseas, a lot of affected workers from what's happening with what we're doing, boycotting, a lot of affected workers in general. How can we also show solidarity with those people? Amy, you're up
Okay,
next.
well, one thing, talking about the war, but then how, like, the other two questions you were talking about, but just really quickly about the war, I think one of the effects too is that there has not been one clear reason stated why we're at war, or otherwise every day the reason changes. So I'm just thinking psychologically, okay, that the soldiers are fighting, but what are we fighting for? What are we dying for? To me, that can also have a psychological impact in a negative way. But
I think you're absolutely right. Sorry, go ahead.
No, that's okay. But also to like the other questions where you're talking about like being in your own community. One of the things is at the protests we have on Saturdays, our organizer has a sign that says, if you want to talk, have any questions, feel free to come up to me. I don't think anybody has really taken him up on that, but again, just, I'm like, be open to discussions. Now, if somebody's yelling and screaming at you, they're not going to listen. Just be polite and walk away. But I mean, again, that's just one way of, okay, why are we out here? What do we see are the problems? What are,
Yeah.
You can maybe have a conversation.
That's
maybe
one way
not, but
it's one way to open the door. And sometimes people are there because they don't have anyone to talk to about this stuff. Like, I have a friend who is surrounded by MAGA in her family. She's surrounded by MAGA at work. She literally doesn't have anyone to talk to about this stuff because when she tries, all she gets back is the talking points of the Fox talking points and all of that, right? So I remember I saw her at the last No Kings. She said, I thought I was coming to a protest that there were going to be like 6 people here. And when she got there, y'all, there were over 600. So she was able to be around people that were like her. And the smile on her face when she saw all of us weirdos out there. I mean, she was just so happy to see people in, costumes and signs and everything. it was just great. Anyway, sorry about that. I didn't mean to
No,
go
but I
on.
was thinking, yeah, that's just, and then I'm sorry, just one last thing. The
Mhm.
other way about helping the community is, I know some people find this gross. I'm a dumpster diver, and trust me, they throw away some really good food. That's not actually ruined.
That's not gross.
But the one thing, like where I dumpster dive, there's certain homeless people. So if I have extra stuff, I just tell them, hey, I'm a dumpster diver. This came from a dumpster. I think it still is good, but what do you want? And and there was like some other lady that I think she got some foods from Aldi's and just started like driving around passing them out.
Yeah. People don't understand that corporations have to throw away a lot of things that are really good,
Yeah.
and they don't understand expiration dates at all.
Yeah.
So I understand where you're coming from completely. All right. Thanks, Amy. I appreciate you. Julie from St. Paul, Minnesota.
St. Paul. Hello again. On the topic of trying to do something, I I have been personally focused on the environment, on the issues with the boundary waters here locally, through a group called Rise and Repair. I would say look for local groups, not only candidates but issues, and call the State House on those issues. There was another one I just heard on NPR. It was about housing. This woman, somehow she lost her house and then she sued. I don't know if she was in arrears and they foreclosed, they took her money. She's a 93-year-old woman and she sued. And so now I think she passed and left the money. But I don't know if it needed to be more specific, but they have $40 million and the Dems want to use it for renters help for people that were impacted by ice. Now seems like minute stuff, but it's not to those people that could use the help. And we have the money there. So I feel like I can make some phone calls on that because they have gridlock. It's just, it needs to be bipartisan. So there's all kinds of little things like that. And then I was just thinking, with the runoff, and I know there's going to be a lot of more primary activity coming up, and Mobilize usually helps us with that. But if we see phone banks for the one in Georgia, for example, that one is between a Democrat and a Republican, I think, and it's coming up, I think, in the beginning of April sometime. But jump on phone banks for any, because he had more, the Harris. It was Harris and can't remember the Republican's name, but anyway.
Fuller, and it's April 7th.
Yeah, Sean Harris. I just got an email about that.
So
Sean Harris and Clay Fuller. Yeah.
So there should be a phone bank out there, sooner than later to join. And yeah, the little stuff, all the little stuff matters.
And that I agree. All the little stuff adds up.
Yeah.
Every single piece of this matters. It is something that will stick with me forever after the last big Kamala Harris election. Okay. Everything you did in that election mattered. And everything you didn't do in that election mattered. So every postcard that you wrote mattered. And every postcard you didn't write mattered. Like all that to me, said so much to me. So just the little things,
Right.
All right.
And one more quick thing on that. Today I had seen on a reel where there's Republicans were, they were in some kind of meeting and this Republican rep said, well, we want to find out where the protesters are getting their funding. And there was a Dem that responded and he said, very politely, that is extremely insulting. These people that are protesting are not getting paid. And so I jotted down the names and I did call her office. I just left a message and said, with their LA, legislative assistant. And I just left a message saying, no, this is, we're just practicing our constitutional rights here, and kind of made kind of like a little chuckle. Because what are you thinking here? Of course we're not getting paid,
Of course not.
So now I want to make the phone call to him for thinking, to sticking up for the protesters. So little things. That's it.
Thanks, Julie. All right, Judith, you're up next.
Okay, yeah, thank you. What's most on my mind today is still the war. It's really disturbing me. I mean, it was pretty clear from the outset that the U.S. was the one responsible for the bombing of the girls' school in southern Iran, but it's becoming more and more clear now, and that I think is very upsetting. But I guess most people are more angry about the gas price increases. But that's anyway. And I'm wondering also, next week, March 20th, the day of the spring equinox, that's Iran's biggest holiday of the year. It's an ancient Persian holiday, Nowruz. That's their new year for their solar calendar. And I'm just wondering whether, I mean, the Trump administration, of course, is not aware of this. They don't care. Obama used to send a beautiful greeting, very respectful greeting every year for Nowruz to Iran. It was really wonderful to see that. But I'm sure Israel is aware of this. And I'm just wondering if some sort of move in one direction or another might happen right around Nowruz. I don't know. But anyway, the war is what's on my mind most. And I'm just wondering how to do that. And as for, what to do, where to draw the line on sending advisors or what, I have no idea. I heard that Witkoff offered a ceasefire to Iran a couple times already, and Iran is turning it down because they don't want a temporary thing. It's all or nothing for them. And I think they're kind of, well, I kind of see their point. We call for a ceasefire, negotiate, and you get attacked again. What's the point? So we'll see how things go, but that's what's upsetting me most, I think. And yeah, okay, that's it for now. Thank you.
No, I totally get it. Thank you, Judith. I appreciate you. And before I move on to Dr. Melissa real quick, I'm going to express the calls to action page. This idea came to me, a war and wallets conversation, y'all. When we can organize a short little living room or library conversation about, and I understand, Judith, that the fact that people are more upset about the gas prices than the bombing in the girls' school is upsetting. And I get that. But if we can get to them that way, if we can first get to them through their wallet and then talk to them and kind of hopefully talk to them about the girls' school, I think then that way we can layer on the effects of the war and maybe eventually get through to their soul, maybe, I would hope. But collect 3 to 5 stories, to share, like with local officials or letters to the editor. Anyway, so the call Congress with a clear demand. Y'all, when you call, use the 5 calls app, but also have a personal attachment to it. Make your story different, because that will make them remember you. Also, make sure that it's very specific and support affected workers and services in your area. I think that this is a big one. It will help in the future. It will help with mutual aid. It will help also bring those affected workers and labor unions and those affected just industries to our side, and not to our side, but to our effort in the future. All right, Angela, you're up next.
I apologize if I missed this because my phone died, but as far as the phone calls that are very effective with criticism and demands and stuff, I also feel like it's important to make phone calls. I'm even thinking about calling Fetterman. Hey, you changed your mind on that? That's fantastic. That's what we want to see. Thanks for listening to the people, So,
yes. Yeah. I completely agree. And you did not have to stop talking. But yes,
That was
it's
all.
important. Because especially they need our responses, especially people like Fetterman who seem to not understand what the people want most of the time. So when he does something like this that we do want, we need to let him know, yes, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you so much. This is exactly what we wanted. Thank you, thank you. And like Tammy Duckworth, she does such a good job. Like when we ask her to go on podcasts, when we call and ask her to do that, she is on. She goes on late night TV. She is out there. She is on using her platform. But when we don't, when people aren't calling and they aren't reminding her, then she doesn't. And hey, that's okay.
Yeah, I
So
completely agree. Even if they're like, I need to get these people to shut the hell up and leave me alone. If that's the reason they do it, you
yeah,
know, but
exactly.
as long as they do it.
As
Yeah.
long as they do it.
Mhm.
But yeah, thank you, Angela. Exactly. All right, Dr. Melissa, weren't you up? I don't know.
A while ago.
Yeah.
We're cycling through the same people, so anyone who wants to go ahead, you can go ahead. No, I just thought I'd say that about the calls to action. I think we should think not only of how to mitigate, I agree with you, Cecilia, but also how to affect things, how to put forward a positive vision. And I would love to see our senators, congressmen, et cetera, as soon as there's a chance to get in there in negotiating with Iran, because I don't think our current administration can do it. I think you have people like Hegseth and Wickoff and Trump's son-in-law, this and that, so I don't think, yeah, I think if we can get a delegation from our relevant committees in Congress and the Senate, that would be really wonderful, and to accompany those folks so they can't get away with whatever it is they're getting away with. And I think it's not for me, it's not gas and groceries versus the effects of war that are hitting us, and but it's that when a war is far away, we think it doesn't affect us. It makes us feel like we're not at risk, but we are at risk indirectly through these different things, and we can be at risk directly, as someone pointed out, because it's a
Yeah.
global world. Yeah. So that's
Yeah.
that.
I agree. And I think that it's important to point these things out. My town does this thing where we put up the names of every service member from our town, all because I come from a small town, so there aren't many options for the kids that grow up here. And so a lot of kids go into the military from my town. And so we have every single service member up on every single light pole, and we have a really cute town because it's a tourist town, so our light poles are really adorable.
Okay.
they're
And I'll
they're
call
just
you back in about 20
really
minutes.
adorable. Anyway, so as you drive downtown to go see the world's largest rocking chair and the world's largest wind chime, you get to see and read every single name as you drive down. And I think that it's affecting people right now in a different way. I think it's reminding people, oh my gosh, right, they might have to go. Oh my gosh, right, they might have to go. I mean, we forget that these kids are, in the military, or they go on the weekends, or that kind of stuff. So yeah, I think that a lot of times we forget this stuff. Okay. Julie, you're up.
Yeah, I forgot. The one of the other things I thought of is something that has come up before, like when we go to protests, rallies, street corner, bridges, whatever. I think Chris has done this many times, and probably other people as well, to take the little quarter sheet, 5 calls, little paper messages for people that can attend a rally. Maybe they could be making those up, make some zines or what have you to pass out, and just load up and pass them out through the crowd as you're walking through the crowd. 5 calls is good. The Save American Act. I want to say Save Trump Act. That's really what it is. Save Trump Act.
It is.
Yeah. And so I just think any opportunity. I haven't been out because I've been in Michigan, but I did have a missed opportunity. We had an ERA rally at the Capitol today.
Oh.
So this is Women's Month, so there might be stuff going on in different places for Women's Month activities, possibly. So that's just another reminder idea that we can constantly do. Just pass out 5 calls and other messages that we want to get out there about the war or what have you. Yeah.
And putting out a little information about the SAVE Act, y'all, because people don't understand what is actually in it. Like they think that it's just voter ID, because that's what the GOP is saying. It's just voter ID. All you got to do is get your voter ID. It's no big deal.
Yeah, just something, maybe we can together make up some kind of, I know we've had bits and pieces. Chris has posted a comparison, and then there was another one today about, the minimal numbers of fraud. And just one little flyer that maybe to put our heads together to make it real simple. And yeah, I think
Let's
that's a
add
good
that
one
to
to
the
get.
list. Everybody come up with like a little flyer. Or not everybody. If you would like to come up with a little flyer before next Thursday, and we'll all come back and see what we come up with, okay? And it doesn't have to be about the SAVE Act, y'all. If you want to put up a little flyer that has information about the war, information about the ACA, because we're coming up on the anniversary about the Affordable Care Act. If you want to, information about whatever you want, bring it next Thursday, and we'll share it in the chat, and we'll see what we come up with. Flyers that we can hand out. That is a very doable thing. Thank you so much, Julie.
Sure, and
Cecilia,
just make it small. That quarter sheet, make it small.
Quarter sheet.
Yeah.
To wait till Thursday on the SAVE Act may be too late, since they're taking it up next week and we don't know what day yet.
That's true. Okay. Well, then go ahead and start printing those out already. Mary, you're up next.
Oh, okay. All right, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, yeah, this is my first time on this call, so thanks for making this possible. Something that I just keep thinking as I'm listening is that, my belief and understanding is that the war was started to distract from the Epstein files and to release all of the information that they have as promised and are required to do so by law, and to move forward with charging and prosecuting the pedophile predators, which they can actually start now. We have enough information. We have more than enough information to start it now. But it just kind of sounds here like we've kind of moved on from that issue, and that's no longer a concern.
No, ma'am. We have not moved on. We have just taken the top few things that bubbled to the top this week. And I understand that that's worrisome. But no, the Epstein files or the Trump Epstein files are always on our mind. They are always in our top 5 calls, and they are always in our deliberations of what we can or cannot do. I would say that they didn't make our list today simply because of the war. And you're right. That is the idea. But here's the thing. I would also say that this war was probably on their to-do list whether or not Epstein happened or not. Epstein was just the timing. They did the war when they did the war because of Epstein, in my personal opinion. But Iran is on the list for many reasons.
I mean, I understand obviously that a possible World War III is an important item to be concerned about. But
once again,
prosecution of perpetrators for child and women sex traffickers could take down our current administration from within.
Yes.
Which could then affect their ability to proceed with their war plans.
You're absolutely correct. And in the beginning, I did say, these are not the topics that we have to talk about. If there's something else on your mind, please do raise your hand and tell me about it. Because there's so much stuff going on, and these are always, but, and you're right. It should always be on the list. Haha, no pun intended. That of things. I think that it wasn't the war. It was the New Hampshire primary that kind of got in the way. It was the good news. I apologize. But here's the thing. What are you doing, or what would be your idea, your action item to help with that as it stands right now?
Yeah. Well, that's a good question because I'm looking for a place to plug in. I live in the far south suburbs. I'm down here in Park Forest, which is about 30 miles south of downtown. And I did recently go to a new resident meeting put on by the village and asked if there were any local groups that I could tap into. And so I have not acted on that yet, but that is something, that I plan on doing. And, so that would be kind of, I go to the protests, and I once in a while go to other meetings that are on the north side, or I've tried to participate in phone banking, but I don't have a laptop. I only have a phone. So that makes it impossible for some of the calls. And when I did have a laptop and I couldn't figure out the technology, I wasn't able to get, help to do that, the two times that I tried, and I tried calling the Indivisible directly, and they're like, well, we really don't have anybody who can help you with that. So I kind of have given up on that. I've gotten postcards to mail out. I've got, stuff like that. I have a group of friends that I have created a current events ongoing text thread with.
That's good.
My siblings and I have an ongoing current events text thread, so I'm mostly trying to stay informed and trying to use the pieces of information that I pick up through that by using when I'm in conversations with other people where that might make a difference, so I really try to take advantage of interpersonal conversations. When I've taken, an Uber or, airport shuttle van or whatever, and I noticed that the driver looks like he may be Mexican, just engaging them and giving what I think is basic information, but they're not aware of. And, those are the kinds of things that I've been doing so far.
Well, I think plugging in is a great idea. And if you can't find, I'm sure there's tons of groups popping up in the Chicago area, but we do have NWSOFA, which I know is a bit of a trek from the South Side. But I live 3.5 hours south of Chicago, and I am a part of NWSOFA. So it is a national group. You don't have to live in the northwest suburbs. So, yeah,
Well, so you must be involved in like an administrative capacity where you can work remotely. Is that it?
No, I mean, you don't, you can be a part of NWSOFA if you're not in like a part of the leadership. You can just be a member.
So you drive up and down 3.5 hours to
Every
go?
once in a while. I don't do it all the time, but I come to meetings every once in a while, especially the MAGA meeting on Tuesdays. I like to join it like every once in a while because they do good work there. It's
Yeah,
like
I know that. I mean, there's two other indivisible groups between the Northwest group and me, and I feel like I get more out of the Northwest group. And so that's the one that I'm plugged in, remotely and electronically, but I'm kind of more looking for, in person
you might
human
need to start
interaction.
your own group, Mary. You might be the leader you're waiting for.
Yeah, I know. I've thought about that, but I also just recently moved and I'm still trying to rehab my house. So
Oh, all right. I hear
trying to
you.
be realistic as well.
Okay. All right. Well, I got to move on, but thank you so much. And hopefully we'll get some other ideas.
Okay.
All right. Sharon, Miss Sharon, how you doing? How's California?
I'm in California, so I'm involved with this one. NWSOFA.
Yes, ma'am.
First of all, the boycotts are working.
Yes,
and
ma'am.
I'm going to put the information in the chat now. We need to be concerned about the cell groups that may be already here in the United States. I went to a meeting with my sheriff department yesterday, and they said they're going to increase patrols around our churches. And, I feel safe, but at the same time, you don't know where they are and you don't know where they're going to attack, but it's something to think about. I'm not going to get overwhelmed thinking about it. I'm not going to let it hinder me from living my life. Okay. Let's see. In lieu of protesting, I've been working on that for a while, and I do have some ideas that I will either try to turn in tomorrow or Monday for sure. But, and it's just, I've been talking about the blood drive and different drives about everything. And that's something that everyone could be interested in, whether you're a Democrat or Republican. Feeding the hungry, that's something you can do nonpartisan. And it's a talking point. Okay. Also, Julie was talking about some things. I think when we protest, I think we need to find things that we have in common. Everyone should be concerned about health care. Everyone should be concerned about child care for working parents, that type of thing. So maybe we need to approach them along those lines of what we have in common and not, he's this and he's that. And if you have children, the more you talk about the person you don't want them to hang out with, the more they gravitate to them. Okay.
That's right.
And that's something we could put on the flyer too. We're concerned about your health care. Are you concerned about it?
Yeah.
We're concerned about the education of your children. and put those things that he cut out in those areas, like in education. You know, they're not going to fund Pell Grants past 2 years. Okay. So he wants everyone to go into vocational. So who's going to be the doctors and the lawyers?
Right.
They're their children. Okay. Control again. Another form of control that they're passing to their children and with their money. As far as the Epstein, I think, Mary, you mentioned that. I have a letter that I have sent out, and I could put it again, to Bondi, whatever her name is, Blondie, like Robin called her. And it's at telling her that, requesting that she gives the survivors a apology of how she treated them during her court hearing, as well as for her to resign. And I'll put that in the chat. And all you have to do is just print out the letter and mail it. The address is there and everything. I don't make phone calls. What I do is use email to our representatives, and I tweak it for each one. So what I do is go to the email, cut and paste. And it works for me. And I ask for a receipt. So I'll get an email, which is usually a form letter. You could tell, saying we received your email, but it's my documentation for me that they got it. Okay. They probably didn't read it personally, but nonetheless, it's checked.
Miss Sharon, I'm so sorry, but I'm gonna have to get going. We're running out of time, and I got a few. I got a few hands up.
I wanted to hit everything at once. Okay, so I was finished anyway. All right, then, take care.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Okay, Melissa, I'm gonna skip you and go to Ms. Joyce because Ms. Joyce has not had a chance to speak yet.
Oh, hi.
Hi.
Hi. Yeah, this is my first time.
Hi.
And one of the things I just wanted to say to Mary, because she's sort of looking for her resistance home. Here in Detroit, I'm in Detroit, and here in Detroit, there is a vigil in front of the Detroit regional headquarters of ICE, and we're there every Wednesday at 7:30 in the morning. And it's half an hour right in front of the building. It's sort of I'll say sort of faith-based because that's where it originated, but everyone isn't a member of a church or whatever. People, word of mouth has gotten out. There's a nearby coffee shop, and not everyone, but some of us go and have coffee together. And I think, is it Timothy Snyder, I think, who wrote?
Yes.
Yes. When he talks, one of his points in On Tyranny is having community. And even if, Mary, even if you find a few people in your community who are like-minded and you all decide that you're going to do something on a regular basis. Maybe at times you'll join forces with larger indivisible groups for like No Kings or the big events. But if you do what you can and then have your community of people, it makes all the difference in the world in terms of like, as these things start coming at you and, it's like, oh, this is so depressing. Oh, we're at war, and just having like-minded people around you that you can just sit, not, Zoom is great, texting is great, but sitting down together is a really important thing, and having time to, look people in the eye and share ideas or concerns or whatever.
That's true.
That's it.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Thanks for raising your hand. All right, Dr. Melissa.
I wanted to see if you would mention, because Mary had brought up focusing on Epstein, that group that we were creating, and I think you were meeting with the person who was the mover and shaker on that. So the two of you, can you update us on that?
Yes, I can. Although there's no update just yet.
Just mention it.
Because of the primaries. I'm so sorry, guys. I'm neck deep in the primaries, so we're waiting until after March 17th. And so, but it is going to be a Survivors Against the Epstein class. That is the name of it, and we are going to be coming together to support, promote, and help those women and any women who have been affected by this event or any kind of trafficking or any kind of abuse of this kind. So yeah, yes, Christine and I we just because of everything, the election, we got to wait just a little bit.
Sure, but I just wanted Mary to know that that's in the works, and that is also an advocacy group. Besides,
Yes.
it's not just a support group. It is to give people who are out there who have those experiences and maybe are not allied anywhere politically or could be anywhere. I mean, I was thinking of the QAnon folks sound like there's a bunch of people there who are survivors, but they're going that way. But if we just do a open-ended, friendly, supportive, and collective group that, I think that we can also advocate against the Epstein class that way.
I completely agree. All right, thank you. All right, Ellen, we're going to end with you tonight. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I wanted to comment on one thing that's worked for me is I go to this truthactionproject.org on Tuesdays from 7 to 9. You can see it on the website. I've done it for over a year and a half now, and our goal is to get the government, specifically Trump, to tell us the truth about. He said he was going to open all the papers, and so regarding Kennedy assassination, regarding 9/11 and COVID, and I think it's helped me to be kind of in that brainstorming, a chance to bring together research and like I've got this book, The Secret War Against the Jews by John Loftus, that it's such a complicated story, but that, there really was, Kennedy and this Israel group. And the other one, that thing I wanted to say is about the cells. The problem is false flag terrorism that's been waged by the intelligence agencies, the CIA, the Mossad, and MI6, and one thing they do is have something like, thinking that some Muslim or Iranian was one that attacked the temple, and so we just have to watch out for that rather than always, this is the propaganda line. And we have to be like teach-ins and free speech to really help each other understand really the problem of covert operations and how they have been waged really out of the Mossad trains the police and trains, has an undue influence on Trump and through this APEC, all of our politicians through the money. So that's helped. Thank you.
Thank you. I can't verify any of that, but I know that there are. I know that. No, I know there's a lot of money out there. I know that there's a lot of bad things out there. Dr. Melissa, you're up
Yeah,
next.
I just don't want to end on that note exactly because I realize we all probably have our pet projects and things that we are passionate about, and we don't have to all have the same exact opinion as long as we're pulling together for the major things. I just love that people who hadn't spoken before spoke up today. I just want to say that. And also, yeah, I mean, I think we want to be careful about doing things that are only suspicion based. For me, like I can get very suspicious about things and think this is because of this, because of this. And I think we're all going to speculate, because that's part of having a mind and working your mind. And yet we don't want to get, I think we want our energy to be free so that we can address, what does it mean to have the war? What does it mean for people to survive? What is, the day-to-day stuff and that are affecting all of us and bringing us, we're in that bardo and we're going to move forward from the bardo and from our own strength and empowerment. And then we can figure out, someday there'll be, if we actually get through this and get things more the way we want, then we can have a truth and reconciliation process that brings people back together.
That's right. That's right. All right. Well, thank you very, very much. I appreciate that. Y'all, this was one of our better discussions, one of those times where we season it with spicy discussion, and we end up with one of those moments where we look inside and we got to think, what do we need to do next? Like, what do we need to do to take it to the next step? Because every little bit helps, right? Every little thing that we can do will help. But self-care, take care of yourself so that you do not burn out, so that you can take the next step. Miss Carolyn, we are so out of time. Can you can you make sure that this is the shortest comment ever? Go ahead.
I get texts all the time, and I just got one that said, we lost the vote, and it's like the vote doesn't even happen until Thursday. So they're just trying to get money, right?
Yeah, probably.
Oh, don't go by the text.
Don't pay attention to the text. Pay attention to the news.
Okay.
Okie doke. Thank you so much. All right. Anyway, guys. So once again, we will see you tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. if you're with us for Coffee and Conversation. Otherwise, we'll see you tomorrow at 5 for Unhappy Happy Hour, or Happy Unhappy, whatever they're calling it nowadays. Other than that, we have our book club on Sunday at 4 p.m., which we will be on video number 2. And it will be we're getting into the good stuff. Be super excited. And other than that, next Thursday, 5 p.m., guys. I hope to see y'all back. Thanks so much. Thanks to everybody who spoke up. Thanks to everybody who talked in the chat. Thanks to everyone who's just here. Y'all make us what we are. You are Sorting Soup. Thank you so much for being here. We will see